All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our stream, our bi-weekly stream by us, 3D Potter here. Very unofficial stream, very casual, just teaching you how to use our printers. Let me get this text off the screen here. Not that one. That one. And that one. And get rid of the music. Okay. Let me go shut that music off just to make sure that doesn't pop up randomly up in the stream, everyone. So, this week, we are going to be covering retraction and sequential object printing. So, our printers are capable of retraction, and in order to retract, the pressure from the extruder needs to be let off and canceled out. So, you know, I'm sure you've seen our extruders and printers before, but basically this is just a giant overgrown syringe. Yeah, the piston pushes the clay down, clay comes out the nozzle, makes the print. But our extruders retain a little bit of pressure. So on our profiles we have for Simplify 3D and Cura, they're starting and ending scripts. And in those scripts, the ending script specifically has a big retract move. So if you have one of our printers and you run one of our newer printers, version 10 printers, and you run the test file, the test cylinder or the test vase file, at the end of the print, you'll notice the printer gets very loud and angry. And that loud noise is the extruder motor working double time to go in the opposite direction. So that means near the nozzle at the end of the print, it moves up and retracts at the same time. And that is to prevent a long string of clay blob ruining your piece or stuff like that. And that's the ending script for our profiles that we provide, and that's the default. You can change that to whatever you want. If you have more stiff clay or more soft clay, that can be changed to your settings for your clay. You know, you have to experiment a little bit with that. And then there's retraction. So basically, as you can see here, we're moving to a different piece here or whatever. So instead of that ending script, which only happens at the end in Cura and Simplify 3D, you can change the retraction settings, which are basically kind of like the same thing. So to do a little print in one section, retract, do that retraction motion, move to a different spot, and then continue printing, and then go back and forth, and as many times as you want. Now, it can get a little messy, just slightly. Since clay is a very not clean, nice material, and depending on how stiff your clay is, how much it wants to stick to each other, all of those things are very kind of custom-like settings for your own mixture. So our profiles that we provide, they have a base retraction settings. It's a little checkbox in Cura and Simplify 3 to say enable retraction. Click, and in this stream we're going to be messing with that. So we are going to be using, I think on stream, you may have seen me on the stream starting soon. I tuned it just a little bit to something a little bit more, to be a little bit more aggressive, because this is a Pro motor. All of our Pro printers, so our 10 Pro, our 10 Super, and our 10 XL can handle retraction pretty well. The 10 Micro has a little bit harder time because it doesn't have motors that are strong, but that's why it's a cute little compact printer. Okay, so let's actually print a file. So we're going to be doing a retraction file, and then we're going to be doing a sequential object printing file. And that sounds what it is. We're going to do 3 cylinders each, and one we're going to do layer, 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 then up next layer. So layer 2, then layer, 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 third layer, 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 layer. That's going to have a lot of retraction because we're going boop, 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 boop between all of them many, many times. And then for the sequential one, it's just going to do one cylinder all the way up. Then it's going to move over. Then it's going to do the next cylinder all the way up. It'll do the third cylinder all the way up. So if you're printing many objects, you know, that don't need retraction, we would highly recommend doing sequential object printing. It'll make the object much cleaner. But if you're doing a single piece that has multi-tower, such as going up and then maybe it spreads out into a Y or a flower or something, you know, you have to do retraction then because it's just a singular object and you need multi-tower printing stuff. In fact, let me go grab a multi-tower vase off the shelf over here to show you guys what I am talking about. Almost back to the camera, about 2 more seconds. Here, so this is one of the vases we printed in the shop. And as you can see, it has multiple towers. So it started out as a single layer, but as it got up, it went here, and then each layer between here and here, so did a layer, retract, move over, do a layer, retract, move over, and it went back and forth. So you can also make objects like this as well. Put this safely on the counter so it doesn't fall off anywhere. Okay, so in the pre-stream, in the starting stream soon, I made the 2 files. So let's go ahead and actually get into it and print those files. Okay, let's switch over to the computer screen. So I'm controlling the printer now. Please. Please? There we go. Excellent. And then I click on the pause print. I'll cancel this print here. And then we are going to go to jobs. And then we are going to run the prime program after I plug the motor in. Just give me a second. There we go. Okay. Let's go to prime. Click. Please. Please click. Yes. Okay. Shop front. Okay, so extruder's priming right now. So clay will be coming out momentarily. We just put on a new tube. So we're just, there we go, prime. Sorry, everyone was talking there and shop in the background. And then prime program's done. And we're gonna run, I think we'll try the difficult one first. Going all the way, we're gonna send it, guys. We're gonna do the retraction program first. That's the more difficult one. So sequential's much easier. So we're gonna go to our interface. I'm sorry, I'm not showing it this time. 3-cylinder retraction code. There we go. I just clicked on the start print button there. So it's going to do an outline, and then we're going to do cylinders of 1, retract, move over, 1, retract, 1, move over, retract, et cetera, et cetera. This is just a little pre-prime in a starting script we have. And I'm going to adjust the extruder height line. It's not quite sticking, so I got a little cup of water here to help it stick to the bed a little bit there. Here we go. It does 2 outline layers. Now it's doing a retract move, and now we're moving to the first piece. So now it's repriming, and it's printing the first layer of the first cylinder. And then once it goes around, should go around once or twice. Here it's just once. So we're retracting, doing a move. And you may have to always, with just regular prints, have to assist it a little bit on its first layer. Yeah, see, it just unfortunately just kind of grabbed the clay there, and I didn't wet the bed properly. So I'm actually going to turn the extrude rate up, and we're going to try and save this print. Way up in the extrude rate, 20%. Please save. A little bit of water there, that'll help it. There we go. We're saving it. Hello, mic check. Oh, sorry about that, everyone. My microphone died. So I apologize for the silence there, and I'm not quite sure how long ago my batteries died, but I'm coming back into the shot now. So I will recover some of the stuff that I said. Sorry, my microphone died. So here on the print, we are doing not sequential object printing, retraction. So we're doing one layer, we're retracting, we're moving over, we're retracting a little bit more. And I'm sure, we still have some audio issues. I'll be right back, just one. Video test, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Video check. Audio check, sorry, 1, 2, 3. Sorry about this, guys, but you can still view the print while it's running. Just audio check, 1, 2, 3. Can't seem to get my audio to stop echoing. I'm sorry, everyone, but we're still trying to get this worked out. Sorry about this. This is audio without any noise cancellation, so you will hear some background noises. Just making sure it's not echoing yet. Hello, microphone check. Test. Hello, sorry, this is now our normal audio, but we have no more noise cancellation, so you might hear some background shop noises. Testing the audio again. Sorry about this, everyone. Just seeing if I'm not repeating myself like an echo of a crazy man. Hello everyone, this is another audio test. Sorry, we're using a backup microphone. Just testing to see if you can hear me okay now. Yes? Is it still repeating? So I've changed microphones, I've done this. I apologize everyone to the stream to listening to my lovely echoing voice, but I am unable apparently to fix this audio in the short term. So I'm trying to get this back up and running. As you can see, the print is still running, but I'll be trying to fix this as fast as I can. I apologize for everyone watching the stream. Another little audio test. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Hey, it appears the audio situation may be fixed. No? Not yet? Okay, I think the audio is fixed. Please scream in the chat if the audio is not fixed. So, may have been an issue of a couple windows open there. Sorry, everyone. Should be okay on the audio. I'm just going to check one of our streams momentarily. This print's still running, as you can see, so we're still printing the retraction file. Okay. Excellent. Sorry about that, everyone. Any questions in the chat for people? I think someone had a question earlier about the settings for our setup here. So of the settings in the slicers. So our tubes have clay in them. There's no direct measurement of filament in traditional 3D printing with plastic printers. There is, a spool of filament. And that spool of filament has, obviously it's certain lengths. It has real world properties of how long the filament is. And so slicing programs have a setting that say, what length of the filament do you wish to retract? And typical retraction for plastic 3D printers is like 2 millimeters. Two. We don't have filament. We have a giant tube. So we tell it to retract 1,000 millimeters. And that's just a set kind of arbitrary amount that's dependent on your material that you use. So here you can see the amount of time it's taking between starting and stopping on this print for it to move over and as such. So, it's retracting, done. So that amount of time is 1,000 millimeters of filament according to what the printer thinks it is. You can do more, you can do less. If you're very advanced, you can even tweak some motor speeds and how fast it does, et cetera, et cetera. So this motor can only spin so fast. It does have a maximum RPM before it shuts itself off for safety, for over torque reasons. So you know, those settings are set in the configuration file of the printer, and you shouldn't need to really change them or go beyond them. I'm going to open the printer interface here on my laptop so I can see what the status of this print is. But this print should be almost be done, and it's been going long enough, and I do want to show you guys some sequential printing. So instead of retracting all the time, which takes much longer because there's time to retract and time to reprime every single cylinder. Let's see. Yeah, this has a few more minutes, so I'm going to pause it. So that's another thing I'd like to talk about, and this is a perfect time to talk about it. Pausing. So in addition to, you know, the prime, retract, and everything, there's a pause button on our interface, and you can do this to change tubes. And in the system folder of the printer, there's even files that say pause and resume. These pause and resume files can be changed to whatever you need them to be to suit your needs. So if you want the bed to move a certain way, or the Z height to move up and out of the way a certain amount, you can program it in these pause and resume files to do it. So when you push the pause button, click, it runs the pause file. And it will just run the file straight, whatever's in the pause file, the printer will try and execute it. Same for the resume file. And in the resume file, you know, one of the commands in the resume file is go back to the remembered coordinates when pause was pushed. That's one of the lines of code in there. So we're actually going to do that. So let's actually push the pause button. So as you can see now, the printer is paused. And in the pause script, it's very similar to the ending script. Basically, I retracted and moved the Z up out of the way at the same time. So you have a small little nubbin, I call it a nubbin, as possible, of right there. And then when you click resume, click, it runs the resume. And in this case, I believe what we send out with is the resume is it goes back a bit above where it remembers, it reprimes, and then it continues. So there's the reprime, and then it continues on. And depending on your clay again, and what you have, it may not hide the seam exactly perfect. You will have to tweak the pause and resume files for your clay mixture. So if you're on our full stream on YouTube or Facebook, and maybe on some Instagram viewers who are viewing Instagram in a web browser, you can see this little pause and resume mark here. And there, that's probably a good close-up shot of the side camera there in the corner. So that's from the pause and resume script. And that can be further tweaked and hidden even more, depending on which clay you are using. Okay, so let's actually just pause this. And I'm going to hit cancel print. And we're going to now try sequential object printing instead of retraction. So basically, we're going to do these same 3 cylinders, but sequentially. So cancel print. Sure, a couple questions. Now's the perfect time. What software do we use for monitoring our printer? So our printers come with, it's included with it, a nice graphical user interface, which let me show up on the screen. I'll throw it up on the screen now. Let me just make sure I'm connecting. Oh, yeah. Sorry, I lost my access there while I was trying to fix the audio, so I gotta run back to my other printer really quick here. So this is the interface. So this is a Duet 2 board. That's the name of the control board. You know, there's other things like SmoothieWare and, you know, even some people use Raspberry Pis with their own custom stuff or whatever. It's a control board that actually controls the printer. And this board comes with this software. And this is just a cool little graphical user interface that I use to control the printer. You can see more info about it on our website or on the Duet 2 website. And as you can see here, we are now going to push the sequential 2.g code. Please. Cancel print. Sequential 2. Yes. Now I'm gonna click this, and sprint back up to front of the shop. Our streaming computer is in the other room. And this is our front shop. This is, we have a cute little shop here in Stuart, Florida that we have a bunch of open gallery in the front. So sequential object printing is starting. So we're doing a couple outlines. Maybe I have to, looks like that'll be fine. Don't even have to increase the extrude rate. Maybe for the first layer. That looks pretty good. Maybe even too much extrusion. Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah, let's reset that extrusion. That is some significant over extrusion. And once I get this printer going, and I'll increase the speed a bit. So that's another thing that I haven't talked about yet. So for retraction, you have to keep the speeds a little bit slow because this is a syringe. The syringe and the clay can retain some pressure. The retraction script relieves the pressure. But if you're moving very, very, very fast, well, there's even more pressure. And so the retraction script only has a maximum speed. The motor can only go so fast. So if the print's going super fast, well, there's a lot of pressure. And then you've got to retract it all really quickly. But the motor has a max speed. So you can't go too fast on the print speeds for retraction files. I believe the file we just printed before was at 30 millimeters per second. That was the print speed. And the retraction file handled that pretty decently, and at least I consider decent for our printers. So now this is sequential object printing. We can go fast. Just hitting the little plus button a bunch of times here on our interface. Now we're at 50 millimeters per second. All right, 63. The interface says my requested speed and the top speed, so I can tell you exactly how fast we're going. We're at 78 now. 92. 98. A couple more. Let's get it up above 100. 101 millimeters per second print speed right now. Now, there's going to be an issue here. Since we're moving so fast, it is going to try to retract between the object sequential change, and I'm kind of scared. You know what? We're gonna reset the speed for the first object, but then the intended speed. But on the next one, we'll run it fast at 100. So just a little bit there to speed it up. This says this print's about 29% done. We're doing 3 objects. So any moment now, it should switch to the next object. I can't tell that, I just have a percentage, how long far in the print we are. 31%. Probably has to go a little bit more, probably to 34%, but we'll see the retraction script is enabled and spiral mode is enabled. Spiral mode is a spiral. Non-spiral mode is do 1 layer, move up, do 1 layer, move up, do 1 layer, move up. So spiral mode is pretty and special and spiral, and it goes up nicely so that you don't get a seam with normal 3D printing. There we go. Good, I spaced them far enough apart. I was worried about that. Yeah, so sequential printing, you have to leave enough room between the extruder and the part you're printing, because this extruder has some meat here. It's kind of, up and over the nozzle. Oh no, I just hit it with my hand. Pretend I didn't do that. So you have to leave enough room between the objects for sequential object printing. Instead, with the retraction printing, you don't have to leave any room because it does every layer at the same time. There we go. Okay, so now I didn't even have to assist it. Didn't even have to assist the first layer because I kind of tuned it and got the heights and extrusion rates right with the first piece. Let's go fast. 150 millimeters per second. We can do it. Printer's only kind of rated for 100, but you can push it further. Yeah, 48. Now we're on 59. 69. Nice. 81. 92. 102. And I'm increasing it in increments so the pressure in the tube can build up gradually. If I just jump from 30 to 150 right away, there'll be a bit of time there where there's some under extrusion because the pressure has to build up. So I'm increasing in increments. We're at 111, 120, 130, 129, sorry, not 130. Now we're at 138, 143. Extruder's kind of a bit angry right now, the noise it's making, probably because the clay is a little bit too dry. But here we are, we're gonna get a nice shot of this. There we go, here's the retraction. So as you can see, there was way too much pressure built up here. So in comparison to, it's just gonna do it. And we have to help it. Just getting ready to help it just in case. It made it. Beautiful. So as you can see here, this little nubbin is much smaller than that nubbin because the pressure in the tube was too high and it couldn't retract that high pressure fast enough. The pressure was much lower with this piece because the print speed was slower. So low pressure, slow print speed, high pressure, fast speed. So that's what you get. Slower speed is much prettier. But if you need to go fast, you can go fast. And this is well beyond what we guarantee. I think we advertise 100 millimeters per second print speed safe with this printer. We're printing right now at 143. And you could go even further beyond if you wanted. There you go. So you see? Yeah, there we go. There's going to be a big nubbin there because the print speed was still so... because the pressure was so high, because the print speed was so high. But there you go. And then this little ending script, so the ending script retracted, brought the Z up, and brought the pieces forward for you to remove. Let me just adjust the camera because I can't see anymore. And we're going to answer any and all questions we got right now. So that was covering all of the retraction and sequential object printing. Yes, absolutely. So question was, can you do fast speed until the end to prevent the nubbing? I trademarked that. That's mine. Nubbin, any variation of nubbin, that's trademarked. So you should start slow. For printing objects, start slow so you get a good first couple layers, and then you can increase the speed in the interface by a percentage on our little slide bar. So you know, 150, 200%, 200% being double speed of what you set in the slicer. So if you say print at 30, you say 200%, it's printing at 60. And then there's also a progress bar on the interface that says how long the print is. So once it gets up to like 90%, reset the speed. And there's even a button that you can click that says reset speed, and it brings it back to 100%. And that will allow it to go slow for the end of the print. So yes, you can absolutely do that. And that's technically the most efficient way is to do that. Start slow, increase speed, then reset back to slow for the end of the print. More questions? Questions? It's not my signature. The nubbin's not my signature. Oh, Linda. Oh, hello, Linda. Oh, Linda uses the nubbin as her signature thing. Well, I trademarked that. You owe me royalties now. Yes. So question was, is if you can print 3 separate things and then have them slowly come together in sort of a braid or, merging together. Yes, absolutely. So that's just dependent on your modeling skills. We prefer using Fusion 360, a computer-aided design, a CAD program. Basically, you would start that with having 3 cylinders come up and have them merge into one object. You can absolutely do that. And in fact, if you are printing that object, I would recommend printing it that way. So, use your imagination a bit. After an object is done printing, you can flip it upside down and have that be the intended orientation of your final art piece. So, I'll grab that vase again. So let's just pretend that this vase, its intended final orientation, sorry, words, calculations. We printed it like this, but, let's pretend these were level or something like that, you could then say, oh, it's supposed to look like this and stand up and look like a pair of pants or something like that. You can turn things upside down after they print. And at least for printing with our printers, it's important to have the larger base print first. You want more material supporting less material weight up top. Next question. That's it. Aw, no more questions. We'll stream for a couple more minutes, see if anyone else got some last few questions before we end the stream today. Spiral printing. So that is an option in Simplify 3D. Where do you set up the spiral printing option? In Simplify 3D and Cura, there's a little checkbox, check, and I'm going to go show you in Cura. So you can actually see where it is in Cura. It's a slicer setting. I'm sure other slicers have this setting as well. We just have this profile settings for Cura and Simplify 3D set for our printer. But I'm sure other slicers have this as well. Cura. Okay, so here in Cura, I'll move this into the middle so people on Instagram on the phone can see. Near the bottom, there is special modes. And so as you can see here, spiralize outer contour and smooth spiral contours. And we have this checked or unchecked depending on what kind of objects you'd like to do. And that's it. That's just how you enable spiral mode. Still on the computer screen. Let me change that back to the front so I can be in the shot. Storefront. More questions, people, please, before we cut the stream off for the day? Yeah. That's it for today? Okay. This stream's going to be on YouTube. Please send us STL files. Send us a model file. As you can see up here, I think I'm pointing to the right section. Send files to this address so we can print them on stream. A model file like this, but a CAD file, an STL file. What kind of clay we're using? Summarized. We are using stoneware. You can use any clay, obviously, in our extruders and tubes. And you can do any additives you want. So we use pretty safe materials here. We have Delrin and polycarbonate tubes. So almost nothing reacts with that. So you can even use some aggressive chemical additives. And you can add grog, other abrasives, that's good too. We do have rubber seals, so abrasives will degrade the seals over a 3-month course. If you're printing every day with abrasives, the seal will need to be replaced about every 3 months. But other than that, the seal should never need to be replaced. But water content for stoneware is about 25%. And you can go more or less water. 15 ounces per prepared bag of clay in a bag like this. So this is Laguna B-Mix stoneware, and pour 15 ounces of water in this. But if you're doing a pug mill, 25% water content. Yes, clay with grit. Grog is one terminology for it, clay with grit. You can even put other things in there, you know, fiberglass fibers, hay, any material that is traditionally used or newly used for clay can go in our tubes. Maximum particle size recommendation, 1 millimeter. Because we have a 5 millimeter nozzle, so sometimes a couple particles of grit can kind of clump together and make a bigger one, and that can clog the nozzle. So 1 millimeter size particles is recommended to be the biggest, preferably smaller. Oh, thank you. Thank you for watching. Okay, I think we're gonna end the stream here. See if I can hit Beth with this big lump of clay over there. Yeah, yeah. Bam. Okay, see you guys next stream, 2 weeks, and we will be back.